Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. Media in Trinidad and Tobago assured by government that they will remain free and unencumbered when it comes to what they report. Government launches an employment program intended to reduce crime, eliminate poverty and create employment. And the ball gets bouncing on the Hoop for Life initiative. Thank you for joining us. Minister of Communications, Senator the Honorable Jamal Mohammed, is assuring the media in Trinidad and Tobago that they will remain free and unencumbered when it comes to what they report. He gave this guarantee while addressing the nation during a recent post-cabinet media conference.
Minister Mohammed is urging the media to refrain from publishing, printing or airing material which defames politicians. He makes the plea while vowing that the People's Partnership government will not seek to filter what is said by any media house. He insists while the government will not ask the media to edit what they report, it will ask that the media not disrespect or bring into disrepute any member of the Houses of Parliament.
We may not always agree with whatever is printed or published by the media, whether it is in newspaper, on the radio, on the television. But be sure of this, we will give our lives for you to have the freedom to be able to publish or print whatever you so choose. Once you do not defame anyone or enter into any field that might cause some libelous or some matter that might have to be defamation of character, whatever it might be, we will give our lives to be able to make sure you have the freedom and the right to publish and to be free.
Minister Mohammed makes this comment amid fears expressed by some journalists that their right to privacy is being impinged upon by high-ranking state officials and members of state boards. Minister Mohammed refuted these claims, saying this government insists upon free press and does all necessary to encourage such.
So whatever problems you might be seeing right now, they're not really major problems. There might be differences of opinion, but rest assured the press is free and free to operate in Trinidad and Tobago.
Meanwhile, the minister is extending gratitude to all those who made the passage of the 2012-2013 fiscal package possible. He says the passage of the budget and the healthy discussion had in both houses over the fiscal package is evidence that democracy is alive and well in Trinidad and Tobago.
The budget for 2012 and 2013 was passed in both houses, in the lower house and last night in the Senate. And we have to congratulate, first of all, the Minister of Finance, Senator Larry Hawaii, for the very brilliant manner in which he presented the budget in both houses of Parliament. We have to congratulate all members of Parliament in the lower house and in the Senate who contributed towards the debate, and all those who made the budget debate in the Parliament a very successful event. And it symbolized the democracy that's in operation in Trinidad and Tobago. And really we have to congratulate the Speaker of the lower house, the acting president, the vice president, Senator Lindira Udit, who officiated in the Senate, and all members of the Parliament, the staff at the Parliament, the people who operate the Hansard, and all the people who make the Parliament operate. It was really a tremendous effort, and we congratulate all those who contributed to an excellent budget debate in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
The Credo Foundation will receive a helping hand from government in the reconstruction of its center located on Nelson Street, Port of Spain. This as the building was destroyed by fire some 5 years ago. Since then, the attempts by the NGO to rebuild has been futile due to lack of funds, though assistance from foreign countries have come in. But Gender, Youth and Child Development Minister Marlene Kudre says government will assist the foundation with a $3 million in the reconstruction of its drop-in center. She made the disclosure during this week's post-cabinet media briefing.
The Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development assumed responsibility for this facility. These matters were formerly under the Ministry of the People and Social Development. So in that transition from July 2001, they approached this ministry in an effort to get the remaining $3 million. I'm happy to say this afternoon that the Cabinet has agreed to provide the $3 million to assist the Credo Foundation in support of its reconstruction of the drop-in center. This center offers young boys who live on the streets and in other abusive situations, a place of safety where they can drop in for a shower, a change of clothes, and an attempt is made to provide, courses and to sort of steer them on the correct track.
News 4 continues after the break. Welcome back. Hundreds of East Port of Spain and Laventille residents went to register for jobs as 4 government ministries launched an employment program intended to reduce crime, eliminate poverty, and create employment in both short and long term.
At the launch of the program entitled People and Projects for Programs at the St. Paul Community Center in Port of Spain, residents chaired as National Security Minister Jack Warner highlighted different areas of the program. The cheers intensified when he said the residents will work alongside the army and police who will ensure their safety.
We shall give you the tools and the resources to improve your life. We shall give you, as it were, the employment you need as sustained as we can. We will give you the employment you need to change your lives. We will give you home centers and daycare centers, and we shall give you areas whereby you can begin to play and hold hands and walk again, so to speak. We shall do that. We shall do all of these things.
He also announced that persons with criminal records will not be discriminated against and can register with the program, warning, however, if anyone commits a crime or is charged while in the program, they will be kicked out. The ministries involved are national security, local government, planning and housing. Minister Warner says the program will soon be taken to other parts of the country.
This is not special to Laventille alone, but also this program will be carried out in all the other areas like Maloney, Carapo, and Central, and so on, and Carenage, because we believe that this is the program that can make a change in your life.
He says a number of structural work will get underway in Duncan, Nelson, George and Prince Streets, which includes 383 units of the Housing Development Corporation, HDC.
This morning, this is Jolene John from Housing Development. I wish to advise you that we shall start work in Duncan Street, George Street, Nelson Street, and Prince Street. The total number of units, 383 units, she says. We shall begin work in community enhancement and refurbishment, and we shall work in Port of Spain Central from this morning. Duncan Street, perimeter fencing, rehabilitation and repair. Nelson Street, garbage receptacle installation. George Street, repaving of car parks and walkways. Prince Street, landscaping, external plumbing, apron and slipper drains, and curb walls.
Mr. Warner also announced a daycare, homework centers, and play areas for children that will be established to help residents have controlled supervision for their children while they work in the program. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
The Hoop of Life basketball competition has been officially launched. Minister of Sport, the Honorable Anil Roberts, and Minister of National Security, the Honorable Jack Warner, both attended the launch at the St. Barb's basketball court to get the ball bouncing on the initiative.
The first round of games in the Hoop for Life basketball competition will begin on November 1st in 12 communities across the country. Speaking to the media at the launch of the competition, Minister Warner says 60 teams from 60 communities have been registered with a total of 720 players. All players will be paid at $1,000 a month for 6 months as a stipend for participating in the program. All participants must also all take a life skill course once they are participating in the program. Meanwhile, also speaking at the launch, Minister of Sport Anil Roberts says the Hoop of Life initiative will provide a step up for young persons coming out of poverty who have not been given the same opportunities as other children.
Children are then asked to compete at 10, 11, and 12 years old on an equitable state throughout the country. And children of means have an advantage because they would have been exposed to different stimulus, whether it be sporting activity, music, opera, culture, education, special lessons, different programs in their schools. And therefore, at 11 or 12 years old, these children have an advantage at the SCA examination. They then have a great opportunity to go on to the better schools with better teachers and have an advantage at getting better O-levels and A-levels and moving into university. When a child is born poor, they are born with a harder life. Hoop of Life is one of the ways that we are going to make the playing field even.
Minister Roberts explains that success in the program is more than just winning the competition. He believes that even if just one person is able to take their family out of poverty as a direct result of the program, then it has been successful.
This is talent identification, it's life skills, it's management, it's company and business development, financial development, opportunity for advancement. It is an opportunity for a sustainable future. It starts off with instilling the requisite skills of discipline, punctuality, hard work. Once you can engender these facets in the character of an individual, you give them the opportunity to thrive and survive. One person who breaks that vicious cycle or that vicious hoop can then for generations ensure that his or her family move out of poverty and join the hoop of hope. That is what Hoop of Life is, giving one individual an opportunity to save themselves and their family through a program of invested care.
The Hoop of Life competition was first unveiled 3 months ago with basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal, who was in Trinidad at the time, voicing his support for the program. Teams will vie to win a $1 million first prize. Runners-up in the competition will receive $500,000 and third-place winners will earn $250,000. 50% of all teams' winnings, however, will go toward a community project within the various communities involved. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Sport is up right after the break. Stay with us. There has been widespread speculation regarding the funding of football projects by the Ministry of Sport, with many quarters suggesting that the TTFF has not received any assistance since April 2012. At a recent media conference at the Ministry of Sport, the minister clarified the issue and also gave some insight into funding procedures. Wayne Cunningham has the details.
The persistent rumors that the Ministry of Sport has ceased its funding of football were put to rest and proved false by the Honourable Annan Roberts, Minister of Sport, at a recent media briefing held at the ministry's offices.
People would like to say that Minister Warner wrote me a letter in early April, and therefore I listened to Minister Warner and stopped funding for football, right? Number one, Minister Warner, Mr. Liebert, or anybody in here could write any minister and give them their opinion and request of them to take certain action and to provide information. The only person who makes the final decision and moves forward is the minister. The only person who can instruct the minister is the Prime Minister and the Cabinet.
The minister then gave details of funding released since April 2012.
Let me just say, this is all the funding from the for the football. The letter came in April, right? April, payment of National Under 23, 440,543 from the minister and the ministry, right? April, 37,636 airfare for National Under 23 for a training camp, Los Angeles. April 23rd, 667,559 airfare to Panama, to Florida, to Guatemala, and return for the Under 17 women. July, 42,614. Cost of penalties, they changed for route of Under 17 women's team. September, $351,920. September 11 for the accommodation and meals. And the payments continue. So there was never any cessation because of any letter from Minister Warner.
There was some clarification needed in relation to release of funds and the procedures required for same. Minister Roberts was eager to enlighten the media.
Furthermore, all of this talk about people and get money, The ministry, no ministry operates within a 2-day period. Anybody know if you have a sports day or anything, you send it in. If it's recommended, it goes to the deputy, the director of physical education. If it's above a certain amount, it goes to the permanent secretary, goes down to the accounts department, it's approved. They have 3 people to do a check. One have to check it, vet it, one have to write it, and the next one have to print it. So the normal turnaround period for money in a ministry is about 6 weeks. So anybody talking about 3 days and you ain't get cash, ministry don't operate like a cash, so you could go and take a swipe a card, okay? So, 1, everything that we said will be handled in the correct time. 2, no NGB, whether football, cricket, swimming, archery, receives 100% of funding. And if you remember in one of your Newsday articles, Mr. Lennox Watson, the acting president who has not gone through an election in a year and a half, said that no matter what the minister or the permanent secretary say, that the team would have gone to St. Kitts because them would have get money. Well, okay. Well, use the money that you get, pay it, and the ministry will reimburse, no problem whatsoever.
The national senior men's team did not receive all the funding needed prior to their departure to St. Kitts to participate in the opening round of the Caribbean Cup. The question was asked if funds could not have been wired.
It cannot wire. It cannot, sir. A ministry cannot. I could wire money to you from my private account. A ministry does not operate that. It cannot wire ministry to get money. Okay, let me go. This is good. When you see the budget debating there now, the budget gets passed. They vote yes, yes, yes. Right. So everybody then has money in specific votes. So they have an NPI vote for if you have a sports day, you request of the ministry some trophies and medals and so on. Or if you have to give funding to swimming or to basketball, it comes to NPI vote. Each month, so if they approve 23 million in that vote, the Ministry of Finance does not give 23 million to the Ministry of Sport one time, right? What you do now is the Ministry Public Servants will say, listen, in this month, divide it sort of into 12, we expect that swimming will come for their money, water polo will come for their money, cycling will come for their money, so we expect to expend 3 million. It then goes across the Ministry of Finance. They will determine in their department, well, that request is too much or too little. Well, hardly, never too little, too much. And they will cut it down and say, okay, you asked for 4 million, take 2 million. So then you have to now go and see, for example, if you notice in the elite funding this year, the cricketers had to wait till the end. Remember there's reports that the cricketers wasn't getting their money and so on? I was telling them each step, I said, hold on, bear with us, because the Olympics was the priority. So the Olympic athletes had to get their money up front. If we get all the money one time, we could give. So you can't wire things, you can't pay. When the budget is done, the votes will start to get, the permanent secretary and his staff have to ask for releases. It has to be vetted. Then the money has to come across about a 3-week or 4-week process. It's very belabored, but that's the system to ensure accountability and transparency.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
More news after the break. Government is pledging assistance to the First Peoples of Trinidad and Tobago for the celebrations being held this week in commemoration of Amerindian Heritage Week. Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, the Honorable Clifton Decoto, says his ministry will work together with the group in getting the 25,000 acres of land for the development of its community.
In celebration of the 12th Amerindian Heritage Week, government has allocated $500,000 to assist in festivities. Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, Clifton Decoto, disclosed this at a post-cabinet media conference, where he notes that funding was reduced due to limited expenditure given to ministries this year.
Cabinet has approved the sum of $500,000 in order to provide some support for the project, the Amerindian or First World People Heritage Week. As we consider it Heritage Day, it is their 12th celebration of the Heritage Day and their 200th anniversary celebration of the Santa Rosa Festival. And while they would not have received the full quantum that they would have asked for, again, it is based on the limited amount that this new ministry the Ministry of National Diversity and Social Integration would have received.
However, the minister says focus will be placed on assisting the community in acquiring legal titles to the 25,000 acres of land which has been given to them by the government for the First Peoples community.
The main focus would be on getting the legal papers for the 25 acres of land that was awarded to them by the government. And we have pledged to work with them to make this a reality.
Earlier this week, the community launched its annual Amerindian Heritage Week with a smoke ceremony held at the feet of the statue of Carib warrior High Arima outside the Arima Velodrome. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
The Honourable Anil Roberts, speaking in his capacity as Acting Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, has expressed condolences to the family of the late Bertie Marshall, the steel pan pioneer who passed on earlier this week. According to Minister Roberts, a true fan and supporter of the national instrument, the news is both shocking and sad.
Minister Roberts says he was devastated to learn of Bertie's death. Bertie was a giant of a man, he says, a pan tuner extraordinaire, a brilliant innovator, whose dedication to his craft was second to none. The minister goes on to say that Trinidad and Tobago owes a debt to Bertie Marshall and his contribution to the movement, which should be preserved and passed on to future generations. The state has recognized him through national awards, Chaconia Medal Gold, and Order of Trinidad and Tobago, and so too the community of Laventille that molded him. His life's work is an example to every Trinbagonian. The legendary steel orchestra Desperados must also be in mourning at this time, but should take comfort in the tremendous opportunities Bertie Marshall delivered to the organization and people within. Marshall is known in the pan fraternity and through Trinidad and Tobago as a steel pan pioneer, tuner, arranger, musician, and a steel pan inventor. He is credited with having introduced harmonic tuning of steel pan notes in 1956, as well as inventing the double tenor instrument. He was the first person to amplify the sound of the steel pan. He developed the quadrophonics, 6-pan, and 12 notes brass together with Rudolph Charles of Desperados Steel Orchestra. Marshall has been building and tuning instruments for Desperados since 1970. Marshall was part of a project for the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute Kariri in 1982, which investigated the possibilities of machine production of steel pans. He was also one of the panists immortalized by Calypsonians, including David Rudder, who mentioned him in his 1992 song, Dust in Your Face. Pan icon and recipient of the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Bertram Bertie Marshall, has passed away at age 76. The entire nation pays tribute to the man, the father, the pioneer and the enduring legacy of Bertie Marshall. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.